My name is Brendan Donnelly, and I'm standing for the Rejoin EU party in the by-election for Chesham and Amersham on the 17th of June. I'm standing because I think that the party has an important message that the public should hear loud and often. The message is that Brexit is broken and it's breaking our country as well. We all know now that the referendum of 2016 was won on the basis of lies and fantasy. We couldn't have our cake and eat it. We weren't able to detach France and Germany from the rest of the European Union. There will be no bonus every week for the National Health Service of £350 million after Brexit. Brexit has contributed nothing to our global trade. It simply made access to our crucial European market more difficult, more complicated, and more expensive. It's led to greater form filling in particular. In the first quarter of this year, 2021, our trade with the European Union went down by more than 20%, while it went down by less than 1% with the rest of the world. Brexit is the problem, not COVID. Ironically, particularly those sectors such as fisheries, financial services, and farming that were supposed to be the beneficiaries of Brexit are those which are suffering most, and that seems likely to continue. Worse, Brexit has put the constitutional and territorial integrity of the United Kingdom at risk. Brexit has led to powerful new calls for a referendum on Scottish independence, an issue which seemed to have been settled in 2014. In Northern Ireland, Brexit has put at risk the achievements of the Good Friday Agreement and given impetus to a renewed discussion about the unification of Ireland. In Northern Ireland and Scotland, majorities voted to remain in the European Union in 2016. Having been dragged against their will out of the European Union, there are an increasing number of people in Scotland and Northern Ireland who are asking themselves if they wish still to be members of the British Union. It will be an irony if the claim of Brexit to have resumed British sovereignty simply led to a diminished United Kingdom over which this supposed regained sovereignty could be exercised. The disappointments and dangers of Brexit were widely predicted in 2016 by its opponents. Now that these dangers have turned into reality, there is a striking reluctance by the advocates of Brexit to recognise the disparity between rhetoric and reality. They have preferred to foment a culture war in which they contrast the difference between the stout advocates of Brexit and the enemies of the people, the noble patriots who simply want their country back, and the effete metropolitan elite. This has led to a degradation of our whole political culture. Logic, consistency, and coherence have been thrown out of the window. Truth and facts appear to depend entirely on the person articulating them and the prejudices of the listener. It's true that Brexit is a self-defeating proposition, and the government is condemned to ricochet from one Brexit-induced error to another. But the problems of Brexit go much further than the Brexit issue itself. They go to the heart of our political and democratic and transparent culture. Against this background, it might have been hoped that the parties of opposition would be holding the government vigorously to account for the disaster that is Brexit. However, because they fear to offend some of their own supporters, and because they are afraid of criticism from the Eurosceptic mass media, there's been a noticeable reluctance of the opposition parties to do so. They have confined themselves to criticising the far from oven-ready withdrawal agreement that the government negotiated. They have called for the revocation of one or other aspects of Brexit. But this is not enough. It's not enough to complain about the undoubted insufficiencies of the withdrawal agreement. These criticisms are justified, but they're only marginal. Nor is it enough to put a sticking plaster on the fatal disease of Brexit by calling for joining the customs union or the freedom of movement restore. The fundamental problem is Brexit itself. It's not the way in which the government decides to exercise and implement the choice of Brexit. Rejoin EU believes that the British electorate deserves better. They deserve to hear the honest message, painful though it may be to some, that the only way of reversing the problems and disasters of Brexit is to reverse Brexit itself. Nothing less will do. Any loss of face and controversy is preferable to ploughing on ahead with a disastrous project, which is going to make our country less rich, more divided, and less respected in the world. Rejoining the EU will be a long process, but a first step can be taken now. The opportunity falls to the actors of Chesham and Amersham to contribute to making that first step. The result of the by-election will not change the situation of a Conservative majority in Westminster. It will, however, be an opportunity to start on the journey which takes the United Kingdom back into the European Union. Rejoin EU is the only party offering to campaign for a reintegration as soon as may be of the United Kingdom into the EU. That is the only answer to the problems posed by Brexit. We will be giving you a choice on the 17th of June, given by no other party. I hope that when the 17th of June comes, you take that choice and vote for Rejoin EU. I do not think it is a choice you will regret. Indeed, I think it is one that you will look back on with pride and satisfaction.